an investigation into how an interviewer can subjectively construct an interview to provoke a human reaction, with links to a film I'm creating called The Professional Line. Whilst my time here at Rosebery College, I've worked on many shows, films and events. Something that stood out to me was the teamwork and the communication, something that I tried to add into my practice a lot. I wanted to make this film to highlight the people who either work with a friend, a family member or a partner, and to see if they cross that professional line. The professional line obviously meaning keeping those personal relationships, friendships, affairs away from work, or overstepping that line where those affairs become part of it all. I really wanted to interview a guy called Matthew Mortimer, a third-year stage management student here at Rosebery College. He spends most of his life on social media, but is also very successful at the age of 20. I filmed him and interviewed him back in December last year. Here is what he had to say. Thanks, Matt, for taking the time to sit down with me this evening.
You're welcome.
So, Matt, still at university, but working with professional people in the West End and here at the Marble Arch Theatre. Very successful at the age of 20. How are you finding it?
It's struggling. It's quite difficult because I'm doing my education as well as working and freelancing and keeping a part-time job here in the venue. So it's quite a difficult thing to be doing, but I'm making it work and seeing where it goes.
Okay, so tell me, where did this all start? How did you manage to find yourself working here and on all your other projects?
I think it's complicated because in some ways I kind of worked hard, and in some I've done what I've had to do to get where I am now. I'm ambitious and people look for that, and I work with loads of different people in loads of different places. So it's just I just kind of found my feet and met the right people, socialised with the right people, and kind of just went from there really.
Where did you socialise with these people?
Sometimes pubs, clubs, sometimes even different organisations such as Pride in London. Obviously I got quite heavily involved with them a couple of years ago, and just met loads of people through there and just made loads of contacts. And obviously the tour that I did really kind of expanded my knowledge and my friendship circle probably around the UK. Because I met loads of unlikely people that I probably wouldn't have met if I didn't do that opportunity.
You met loads of people at Pride, and do you think that was the making of you, finding the right contacts?
No, not really. I mean, it helped me grow as a person and as a professional, because I learned a lot more about myself. But no, I don't think Pride kind of is the making of me as such. Because we all make our own choices and our own paths, and it's just the direction we go down. I've worked with a few companies, I've met a few people, because obviously I've gone from being a stage manager on their family stage to being on their main stage as the artist liaison manager. So I've done a few things within Pride as well as internally on their operations team. So I've done a few things and I've met a few people, but Pride has been kind of that stepping stone for me, where I've just met the right amount of people that are now UK-wide. So I am still catching up with people when I go up to Edinburgh, or when I go to venues in Southampton for tour later on in the next year. I've made a lot of contacts and friends, and those contacts have definitely helped me get work because they saw how hard I was working throughout the weekend of the main event of Pride.
If you didn't work Pride, for the last 2 years that you've done it, would you think you'd be where you are now if you
Yes, because it's hard to explain because obviously even though I have met a few contacts through Pride, I haven't met everyone through Pride, and because it's such a small industry, everyone knows about everyone, no matter who you are, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been in this industry 40 odd years. Like everyone knows everything of what happens in the industry, and like I've been poached by a few different companies to work with them in the future because of what I post on social media, as well as because of how hard I work, and people do tend to acknowledge that more, and they acknowledge the ambition and drive behind a person.
Okay, so these friends or these people you met working at Pride, or of course any of the other events that you've done, do you think that they would still, I don't know, you've touched base on it, but take you on as a employer or employee in the future, if you just turned up, did the work, and gone back home again, or you went to the pub with them and said, yeah, I'll go for a couple of drinks, and did that networking stage there?
It's a hard one because like my work ethic is so different to a lot of other people's, because I will always do more than what I do for people and for companies, because I believe in the company, or I believe in the show, or I believe in the event. Like it's not just me thinking about myself, thinking, oh, I'm bringing in all the money this week and like, I'm gonna buy champagne or whatever. Like it's not that at all. Like a lot of it is very much I'm focused, I'm work driven, and that's why people choose to work with me, because of how good I am at my job, as well as how like dynamic and easygoing I am as well. And it's not even just about turning up, doing the job, and going home at the end of the night. Like they'll remember your name if you do more for them in that one day of the event or a night in the event than what they will any other event, because not everyone will go that extra mile to then complete that task.
Do you consider these people, right, as you said, these friends, as someone you can go and watch a movie with, somewhere intimate, for example, somewhere close, or do you consider them as just a work contact, someone you can phone up if you're getting stuck with getting the work?
It varies, because again it's quite complicated because of the way I work and the methods I do things sometimes a bit unorthodox, and I'm like, some contacts are literally just if I need a favour, or if like we need someone to come in and like be a scenic and paint things, or like there's loads of different things that I have different contacts for in the industry, and there's a fair few people that I could probably recommend for a job tomorrow or even right now. Like I've already got built up that strong kind of networking scenario, but there are also friends that I have worked with previously that I do quite genuinely believe to be friends, because at the end of the day, like as a manager, like this is where it gets complicated, because in some stances you have to be that manager, and in others you have to be that friend. Like you can't just be one or the other, you've got to have that equal balance of them both, because the minute you're just a manager, you're not going to be very liked because you haven't got a personality behind it. It's literally you're just leading a team that don't want to be led by you, because you're just that manager in that position. Whereas if you were that friend as well, and they had a problem going on at home or something like that, then they'll come to you and tell you, and kind of feel reassured. And with work, you've got to feel comfortable in the situation, especially in the performing arts industry, because if you don't feel comfortable around the people you're working with constantly, it then just becomes a difficult kind of thing to do.
And would you say that is then overstepping that professional line people call it?
No, not at all actually, because I very much believe that at the end of the day, everyone, even though the line's there, of like professional line, it's there, but you don't really talk about it in the industry. And obviously, you know, that like loads of people do sometimes stupid stuff, sometimes, you know, work's work, and some will just literally turn up to work, do the job and go home. Others will do more than they have to and like deal with it. So I think it's, with friendships and everything, it's part of the job and the business we're in. Because, you know, especially in a management position, it's hard to not find that, and literally have no personality, which then your colleagues and co-workers and the people that are kind of working under you won't feel that same kind of sense of security.
Take a situation. So take up your manager. You're the stage manager for a production, and you have two ASMs. One of them is a very well-known friend of yours, and one of them is someone you've just met while working on the job. Do you give them the same amount of respect, the same amount of tasks, the same amount of authority, say?
Depends.
Okay.
Because I've recently worked on a charity event, and there was a person that I've worked with before. She's absolutely lovely, amazing at her job, still a student, completely trust her, and in some ways, yes, I did favouritize her because I've worked with her before and I know she's completely competent at the job, and she would take leave when I wasn't there because I was off doing other things around the site or something like that. So I think firstly it depends on what it is, whether it's theatre or events or film and TV. Like, all of them are different worlds and they're different bubbles. So I think sometimes I do anyway, I show favouritism to some people that I have worked with previously because I know I can trust them a lot more than someone who's just rocked up. But obviously at the same stance, I'll also give them the same amount of respect and the same kind of tasks. Like, I won't just be like, here's a pile load of work to the newbie or to the person that I've known for like 3 or 4 years. Like, they'll both do the job adequately, satisfactory, but it won't ever, my mindset of who they both are as people and how good at their job they are won't ever change, because whether you're my best friend or not, at the end of the day, it's work's work, and sometimes that's how you've got to look at it.
So you've never crossed that professional line, but would you say that, like, as you said at the start of that question, is that sometimes I might
Yeah.
do it, and do you feel like that is then crossing the professional line, that you are showing something that maybe should be kept in yourself while working, or do you want to let it go and talk to this friend and say, well, you don't have to do that, let the other person do that, for example?
No.
You wouldn't say that's crossing the profession, or you would?
It depends, because it's a bit of a blurry line as such, because obviously, okay, in terms of events, if it's people that I've worked with before, I trust them a lot more, which then means that I'll give them sometimes better jobs. So like, I'll get them to kind of be my number two when I'm off doing other things. But in theatre, at the end of the day, we're all, even though whether I'm the stage manager, company manager, or I'm at the very bottom and I'm just a crew, at the end of the day, to me, everyone is treated fairly and evenly, whether they're friends or not friends, or like, theatre is a very different world, and event management, there needs to be a hell of a lot of trust, and that's why the event management world is a very small world, because everyone knows everyone, because everyone trusts each other if they're good at their job.
It was very interesting what Matt had to say about his professional line. Something that really came up was that his use of social media. That's something I really wanted to expand on a lot more. So I got in touch with a guy called Hanley, a social media at Google. He spends most of his time looking at the digital marketing and performing arts industry. I wanted to ask him how he uses social media. Here is what he had to say. So Hanley, tell me a bit about yourself.
I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. I've done some producing and directing, but these days mainly I focus on digital marketing, which is social media and communication within the digital landscape.
Okay, that's perfect. Social media, is it something that you use in everyday life? Do you use it, and how do you use it?
So I do have accounts on basically every social media platform you can think of, but they're more or less all silent accounts. I follow what other people are doing and how other theatres and other arts organisations use each individual platform for themselves, but I don't tend to personally post or involve myself, because I think that for me personally it gets very confusing trying to put a personal presence alongside a professional one. It's easier to stay silent.
Yeah, that's really useful information. Okay, so you said you've already said that they're silent, but do you use social media to promote yourself, or use it as a networking tool at all?
Yeah, for that I explicitly use Facebook.
Okay.
Or rather exclusively use Facebook, simply because people tend to be on Facebook when they're not on other platforms, and it's a really good way of keeping in touch with what people are doing when they post events and invite you to them, rather than accidentally missing something from someone who only tweets about their current work once as opposed to 6 times a day.
Okay.
For me, I have used it to promote my own work, but never with my own personal accounts. It's always been with accounts connected to the theatre companies that I've been working with at the time.
So do you think that they should be separate?
Yes.
Okay.
For the same... Do you mind if I expand? For the same reasons that anyone tells you that your social media should be sort of a professional when you're applying for any type of work, the problem with having any public social media profile, especially if you're using it to cross-promote your work, not a separate one, is that either someone's going to click on your personal account and see all the stuff you'd rather potential audiences not to see, or they're going to see something which is private, and then they're going to sort of be maybe a bit apprehensive then about your work if you're not prepared to share yourself, but you're also sharing yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Secondly, linking back to Matt, I really wanted to ask Hanley's opinion on how Matt uses his social media. He said this. I interviewed Matt Mortimer back in December last year. He has 2 social media pages. He has a professional social media page, and he also has a friendship social media page where he keeps everything there. He's known for posting a lot of stuff on his personal one. He posts pretty much every single day. And they're also very linked, where he shares his professional one to his personal one, etc., etc. So, is there a way do you feel like them two should be separate? So they should be completely 2 other things instead of keeping them interlinked like he's doing now?
With Matt's case, I don't want to say anything specific because I don't know his Facebooks, and I don't want to,
of course,
sort of cast any aspersions or anything. But my gut says it feels like it's a lot of effort that he's going to have separate ones. At the same time, not enough effort. Having the same picture is going to be really confusing if I was working with him. And through that, I assume he would want to add me to his professional Facebook. If I search him, how do I know which one to go for? Even if it's as simple as, in my professional one, I have a red top on. Like, just a slight differentiation at that first step. And in terms of professionally personal, in that case of someone who posts a lot personally and is sharing across, that makes me wary, just because, as I said before, the distance that can occur when you don't have one sort of unified voice, one tone of voice, when you're posting for social media to use professionally. Because I'm assuming that, like a lot of people, he probably speaks differently in his sort of personal life as he does in his work life, and that will transfer to his social media as well. It's interesting though that he just does that for Facebook. So I'm assuming then all his other accounts are probably just all personal accounts. Yeah. I mean, if I was working freelance and advising him, I would tell him to either make them completely separate or just not to bother. However, the one thing that's unique to sort of the arts industry as compared to a lot of others is that the people who you're friends with often are the people who you're working with, or at least friends of friends and things. And if people are posting things on Facebook which are tongue-in-cheek, which their friends would get, but not which their wider circle would understand, if you're following, there's quite a danger of making yourself seem like someone who's hard to work with, or immature, or big-headed, any sort of anything negative really in that. I'm trying hard to phrase it without insulting the guy, because I don't want to, and I also don't know what he's doing. But I think sometimes there's some things which is acceptable to post on your personal Facebook that you would never want someone who might end up being your boss in a couple of years to see, because if they see it, they might not be your boss in a couple of years.
Overall, it was very useful to understand how social media can have a massive impact on our work. It was also very good that he expanded on how Matt has been using his social media, and if that was really crossing that professional line. Moving on forwards, I then spoke to a family who've been working together for over 2 years, and here is their interview on the professional line.
Today, I'm going to film 3 family members. The Childs family, Ashley, Laura and Leah. A family who's been working here at Christopher Court for over 2 years now. They've been working together, they've been getting along together, they've never really had a dispute. I really wanted to ask them how they work as a family. Here is the interview.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Ashley, Leah, Laura. All working receptionist and cleaners here at Christopher Court. So tell me, how did you find the job here? Let's start off with Ashley.
The job through a friend.
Okay. Laura?
Through Kim really, and then passed on to Mum, who then told me about it.
Leah?
Exactly the same.
So
all through someone.
So Ashley worked here first,
yeah.
And then recommended you to the position that was going up.
Yeah, that's correct.
Perfect.
There was 2 positions going, so that's how you got it.
Okay. I understand. Also, I just said. Obviously, I understand that Ashley recommended Laura to work here. If the position was advertised, which I think it was. Do you feel like it was fair that Laura got had a recommendation from a worker at Christopher Court at the time?
Yeah, I think personally it's who you know.
Who you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
Not what you know no more. No.
Okay. Perfect. What's the best part and the worst part of working as a family?
I don't think there's any worst part, because you're professionals. At the end of the day, you need to leave your family business at home and not bring it to work. I've worked with my sister before in another place, and you don't call them mum, you don't call them sister. They're known as their names while you're in work, and that's it.
That's good. You? Any?
I don't take no notice, to be honest with you.
No?
It don't bother me at all.
That's really good.
Yeah, we'll just get on with it, don't we?
But
Yeah, we're paid to do a job, and that's what we're here to do. I think because I don't see Mum all the time when she's around the building. She's around the building all the time. I only see her on lunch.
and Laura don't come in till 3, so I spend 2 hours with Laura.
Yeah.
So it's not like working literally full on with a family member. You know, we just see each other from time to time. So I don't think actually it's not that bad, you know.
But we don't bring our family issues
Yeah,
into work.
there's a point you cross where you leave what you leave at home, and we're quite a close family, so if anything, you deal with a situation straight away when you're indoors.
Yeah.
Have you had any disputes about certain things whilst working here?
There's been some, but it's just been left outside of the doors.
Yeah.
So it's been left at work?
It doesn't been brought in unless other
What do you
people
mean?
decide to try and bring it in.
No, it's been left at home. It's not been left
It's
at
been
work.
left at home?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
We
vice
don't bring
versa.
it into work.
That's good.
If anyone answers, it's straight. It's
No
nothing to do
business.
with you. It's to do with us and it's at home.
Yeah. But we don't bring it into work anyway, so no
No.
one would know anyway.
No, they wouldn't know. No,
No, but I mean, like other colleagues, when they ask questions,
yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
it's a family matter.
Yeah. I think sometimes I do bring work home.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's
I
a
might go
common
home
thing
to
that
my
you do.
partner and be like, oh, it's doing my nutting, like, or
But it ain't us what's
But
doing
no, it's not family, but I mean work life, like
Yeah, you're
you
gonna
know, like
everyone brings their work life home. As much as you want to say, oh,
Yeah.
I don't do it, you do it, and you do moan.
I always go home
then
and
you
say,
go-
I've done this today, I've done
Yeah.
this today, and so should have done this. And
I think it's
you know,
different
like-
as well when you're a mum,
Yes,
because you're looking after your kids all day as well, and trying to go to work to provide for them, and then you just like, oh, you don't need it.
I'm gonna bring up a situation. This was when James left
Yeah.
and Tom came on. Obviously, Leah, you took a promotion. You took a promotion. Correct me if I'm wrong. And obviously, it's all sorted now. But you didn't really speak to each other because of that matter.
Yeah.
Did that go back home? Was you not talking to each other outside of work?
Yeah.
You was.
No, we wasn't talking.
You wasn't.
No.
No.
So, because of that work matter,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and obviously it's all sorted now, so there's
Yeah.
nothing really there.
No.
How did that impact you on your everyday family life?
It's quite sad, really, because at the end of the day, as close as we are, like I go everywhere with Leah. Like you wouldn't see me out without her. I look after her kids. Do you know what I mean? Like it's hard. If you wasn't as close, then I suppose you would just get on with it and not worry too much. But it's a lot of people would say, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" Do you know what I mean? They know as soon as they're not talking to someone. Oh, you can't do that. You're so close. Like it's not worth it, and it wasn't worth it.
No.
And what about your fault, actually?
My
So,
fault.
yeah, so you've been in the middle.
I'm
Middle.
always in the middle. I'm always in the middle anyway, so it don't worry me if I'm in the middle.
Okay,
As long as they're happy, I'm happy.
that's really good. That's really good. And yours, like,
It was hard, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really hard. It was upsetting, but you know, we've sorted it out now. Nothing's changed. No, everything's good.
okay, that's
And
really
I'm
good.
still alive.
Have you ever considered that might affect the rest of the team, for example?
No, because
No.
if the team, it's hard because the team is not a team when
Okay.
everyone starts going different places and not doing, where you're going to have certain people doing what they've been told to do and then nothing else gets done, so you just everyone's just separated now. So at the end of the day, our family life, our work life is between us and we get on with it. We don't come to work to make friends,
We never,
to be quite honest with you.
I never, and yous never, we never ever brought what happened into work anyway. I think the only one who knew was Kim.
Yeah.
But Kim didn't say anything anyway, so
So if anyone else found out, it would have been from other
Kim
people.
was just moaning at me all the time, saying
Yes.
you should talk to her.
So I don't think it didn't affect work at all. I mean,
No,
even though we wasn't talking, I still would sit with Laura and
Yeah, you
tell
got
her
your
what
work
was
done.
done. Do you know what I mean? So
So it didn't affect any of your working.
no, we
so-
still well, you have to be professional, don't you? Whether you speak, I mean, you could be family, you could be friends, you could work with your best friend and fall out, and you'd still have to sit there and
Yeah,
do your work.
The thing is, you can't move from that desk. You're stuck on that
Yeah.
desk. So whether you like it or not,
You're
you're
sitting
working
next to each
together.
other. Yeah.
So that's how you get on with it.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, that made us talk again anyway, because
Yeah.
we had to, innit?
The Childs family, a family who's still working together very well and professional right now. And it was good to speak to them about how they keep that professional line. Obviously, to conclude this whole film, if we look at all different types of interviews that we've had, the professional line means something different to certain people. For example, Matt, he can work closely with friends and family. He finds that easy. When a child's family, they find that keeping them separate works for them. It depends what works for you. In my past, I've worked with my mum and my nan, both in the same workplace, and I found it pretty hard not to take work matters back home. We also had arguments, we've also had a lot of different other things that caused issues both at work and at home. There's still a lot more of discussion about this topic, and that is something that I really want to move forward in my practice and career after graduating from Rosebriford College. Obviously, my question now is to you. Can you work with a family member and a friend without affecting your work? That is a question and discussion that needs to be happening. I thank you for watching my short documentary film, and I hope it's opened up so many areas of work and practice to you. Thank you.